Hi, I'm Jane Wells with CEOs You Should Know, and you are?
Raul Porto, and I run with my family Portos Bakery. Probably we're the largest retail bakery in the United States. We get at least 5 million customers walking through the door, and we probably serve maybe 10 million customers, if not 12.
How did your mom and why did your mom start baking?
Well, we were in Cuba. As you know, Cuba's a very, it's a communist country, and now my grandmother had left in 1960. So as soon as Fidel took over, she was smart enough to, get the heck out of town, basically. So she left in 1960, and then she petitioned for us to come to the United States. And when you present the paperwork that you're planning on leaving the country, they immediately see you as a traitor, basically, and they treat you as a person that, like a non grata. So basically, my mom and dad both immediately got fired from their homes, from their jobs, sorry. And then the military, but just a military person comes to the house and does an inventory of everything you own. And then the man, my dad, was sent out to a camp where they, basically to do what nobody in Cuba wants to do, pick vegetables. My mother didn't have a job, and it's not like they give you a way for you to survive. It's like, hey, they don't really care. So then they want to make it as unpleasant for you as possible. So what she did was she started baking cakes out of the house. And then in 1971, we finally got the okay that we could leave the country. And we flew into Miami.
With anything or a dime?
Zero. My mother, the only thing that she could bring or cared to bring was her wedding band. So she actually, right when she entered the airport, she swallowed it. I know, it's crazy.
And waited till?
Well, when we got to Miami, she says that then, she said she didn't eat anything, only drank water. And then when we got to Miami, she basically had to wait until she found it. Yeah, which is crazy.
What was your first memory of Los Angeles? Your first impression?
The cars, a lot of cars. The next thing that was amazing for me, I remember this as if it was yesterday. We arrived at my grandmother's house, and then somebody said, go get milk or something. There wasn't any milk. My cousin and I walked down to a little supermarket, and it's kind of like the size of a small market. It wasn't like a thrifty or something. And I had never seen so much food in my life. From that moment on, we arrived, and probably within a month or two, she started making cakes, mostly for friends and family. There really wasn't, there was no advertising. She was doing it out of her house. We lived in a small house, and she's doing it out of the small kitchen. I don't think anybody ever thought that was going to, that she was ever going to open a small place. But it got to the point where, I remember as a kid playing on the street, and then cars would come up, right? And then they're asking, where's the lady that makes the cakes? And I would say, well, just park here, I'll walk you down. And then at one point, they realized, okay, we got to open a true establishment. I mean, maybe we have something here. I don't think my parents really knew what they were doing from a business perspective. We didn't know anything. People ask me, did you guys have a business plan? No. Did you market? We didn't know what the word meant. My sister Betty would manage the front. I worked in the back with my mom, and my youngest sister, who's maybe 13, was there too, and she would help out a little bit. And then by 7 o'clock, I think, 6:30, we would close the bakery. The whole family would go home. We would eat dinner together and then start. And this is 7 days a week. I think I went to one football game my whole high school and one dance. The rest of the time I was working. And I don't regret it. I don't look back as, it's just my life. If I could go back and do it all over again, I can't. I don't even know that I would change it. My parents kept telling us, this is a business for immigrants. You guys, you weren't born here, but you have all the opportunities, that somebody that was born here has. But then once I graduated and I started interviewing with different companies, I realized, my God, what they're going to pay me, I could probably, the bakery was doing much better by then. And I thought I could probably talk to my dad and, get something close to that. And then my sisters, as they graduated, the bakery started growing, and then they came too, and it just kept growing and growing.
What's the biggest mistake you ever made? Business mistake.
The biggest mistake I made was we hired, when we were doing our first remodel, where we bought our first building, and we're doing the remodel. And whenever you buy restaurant equipment, you usually have to come up with, let's say, 30% down. So I bought, let's say, no, it was more than that, $200,000 worth of equipment. I gave the down payment, and the person disappeared.
What's the secret to the success? Why is it such a legend and so popular?
I think the fact that we all worked as a family, everybody saw us, kind of created this this really cool that you don't really see in any other businesses, kind of like connection with the customer, where they knew us not as a business, but knew us personally. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, my mother passed away about a month ago, and I don't want to talk too much, otherwise I can feel I'm getting a little emotional. But and the day that she passed away, we went back and forth and said, do we put this on Facebook or not? We felt, a lot of customers know her, they ask about her, so let's put it out there. And the results that we got back were mind-boggling.
Tell me something about her.
She was an incredible human being. I mean, not only, she was just a great person. Not only was she a great mother, great grandmother, incredible, beyond belief. I'll tell you this story. So she started the bakery, and that was her baby. When she turned 65 or 66, all the kids, myself and my two sisters, we started having children. So she said, you guys have done an incredible job helping me to grow this business. And I think it's time for me to hand it over to you. And the best thing that I can do for you guys, for the family, and for my grandchildren, is for me to go home and take care of all of them. So she actually hired 2 ladies to help her. And for the next 20 years, until she went into her 80s, she took care of all 7 grandkids at her house. She'll tell you that the best part of her life was when we were young, and then raising her grandchildren.
Raul, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.